What if the secret to feeling more inspired, more focused, and more joyful in your creative life came down to a single tiny brain chemical? If you are new here, hi, I'm Garjana, a psychotherapist with a deep love for paper, scissors, glue, and the quiet magic of mixed media art and junk journaling. Here on this channel, I show you how creativity can be a gentle way to understand ourselves, to tend to our minds, and yes, sometimes to sneak in a bit of neuroscience along the way. And today we are making a masterboard, but not just any masterboard. This one comes with a twist. As we layer paper and color, we'll be looking at our process through the lens of dopamine, the little neurotransmitter that plays a huge role in motivation, focus, and joy. You've probably seen plenty of masterboard tutorials before, but today we'll do it differently. We will be creating something beautiful and connecting the dots between brain chemistry and creative flow. So, gather a few supplies and let's begin. Before we start tearing and gluing, I like to choose a word, a mood, a creative theme. And today mine is progress. Progress, not perfection. A reminder that I do not have to be or do things perfectly. Making small progress, going step by step, will also bring me closer to where I want to go. Maybe slower, but in a sustainable way. Your intention for today might be similar to mine, or maybe something completely different. Maybe something softer like hope or breathing, or even something playful like serendipity or adventure. You can choose whatever feels right for you in this moment. In dopamine terms, this is setting your direction of attention. And here's why this matters. Dopamine loves a clear goal. Our brains release dopamine not just when we get a reward, but also when we anticipate it. By naming an intention, you give your mind something to move towards. You give your brain a destination. It's like telling your inner motivational system, this is where we are heading. It doesn't need to be big or perfect, just enough to create a gentle sense of purpose. I'm limiting myself to only a few things. A variety of old book pages and coffee-dyed scraps, couple of rubber stamps, some ink, and to finish it all off, a stencil with some texture paste, maybe some gesso. That's it. Why would I do that? Because dopamine thrives in that sweet spot between too much and too little. When we have endless choices, our brain gets tired before we even begin. Decision fatigue kicks in and dopamine's motivational spark dims. But when we give ourselves gentle boundaries, we actually make room for focus and flow. It's the same in life. Too many options can paralyze us, but a few well-chosen ones can free us to start. I love this part, filling the white paper with all kinds of scraps. Let me speed up the video a little bit here for you. Grab whatever comes. Tear it, glue it, layer the background, fill in the page. This stage is pure dopamine warm-up. Each small achievable action, like a torn piece glued down, a small section filled in, gives your brain a little hit of satisfaction. These micro rewards are like breadcrumbs, keeping you engaged and inviting you to keep going. In therapy, I sometimes talk about how our brains respond to progress more than perfection. That's why I chose my word progress for today. You don't have to see the whole finished piece to feel good. Your dopamine system is already cheering you on for simply taking the next small step. By the way, if you are enjoying this process and you would like a gentle reminder of each step, I've made a free printable for you. You can keep it right by your craft table so you don't have to remember all the details. It walks you through the whole masterboard with a dopamine lens process, step by step. You will find the link in the description below, and it's completely free. If you do download it, I would love to hear whether it was helpful for you and how you might have used it. I'm really looking forward to having some feedback and reading your comments. The next phase we are entering I call the effort zone. It's that middle space where the excitement of starting has faded, but the end isn't in sight yet. And here's the truth, dopamine dips a little in this stage. So before we even think about adding anything new, I'm reaching for some gesso. There's something so relaxing about this step for me. The soft scraping of my finger over the paper and the way it mutes loud colors or soften these sharp overlapping edges. I'm not trying to cover everything, just brushing over certain areas to bring everything together. And even though it looks like I'm rushing here because of the faster pace of this video, this phase actually feels like a quiet reset. It's a way of telling my brain we are not rushing, we are building layers. The gesso doesn't give me an immediate finished feeling, but that's exactly the point. It's about enjoying the act of doing, not getting it done. This is where most people feel tempted to rush, abandon, or overcomplicate. But staying here, layer by layer, teaches your brain something important. That reward isn't always instant. And while the gesso dries, I bring in some stamping. Not in a hurry, just letting the rhythm of pressing down and lifting up settle into my body. The stamp is a commitment. Once it's there, it's there. But in this stage, I'm not seeking perfection. I'm letting the imperfect impression sit alongside the smooth areas. Letting the page be a mix of intentional and unexpected. It's a reminder that in life, too, some marks are deliberate and others just happen. And that's okay. This phase is called the effortful reward pathway, where you are still investing energy without clear outcome yet. We are deliberately engaging our senses, adding texture, building interest, but without that instant ta-ta moment our brains so often crave. And once I've got those stamped elements down, I move to my favorite tactile step. Stenciling with texture paste. This part slows everything down again. I know it doesn't look like it when I show you the video in double speed, but trust me, the stenciling requires me to slow down because it asks for both precision and patience on my part. There is a little thrill when I peel the stencil back, but even then I know the texture paste needs time to dry. I can't rush it. This is where the brain gets to rest in uncertainty, to practice trusting that something good is coming even if I can't see it yet. This stage is pure gold for dopamine health. It trains your brain to value the process, not just the final piece. And creatively, it's the place where your piece starts to develop its own personality, where the layers you have been building begin to talk to each other. When I work with clients who are learning to tolerate uncertainty, this stage is the perfect metaphor. You are holding space for something unfinished, adding pieces without knowing exactly how they will look in the final moment. You are learning that the value is in the journey, not in the quick win. And the slower, more deliberate your pace here, the stronger the dopamine reward will feel at the end. So yes, we are still in the effort zone. But if you can lean into this space, gesso under your fingers, ink from the stamps on your hands, the raised patterns of the stencil catching the light, you will find that this zone isn't a hurdle to get past. It's actually the heart of the creative process. As the next step, I'm going to do something that feels almost counterintuitive. I'm stepping away for a while. This pause isn't about laziness or giving up. It's about anticipation. Anticipation is one of dopamine's favorite games. When you delay the moment of seeing the result, your brain builds a stronger reward signal. It's like when you are waiting to open a present, the anticipation can be half the joy. In a world where we are used to instant results, choosing to pause is a radical act of self-training. You are showing your brain that the journey itself is worth savoring. And this is the moment we've been building towards. I turn around my masterboard to invite even more anticipation and surprise to the creative process. And as I cut into the masterboard, new compositions will appear. Unexpected colors, side by side, accidental textures, shapes I couldn't have planned. I'm deliberately not looking at the fronts yet, because right now this is about trust. Trusting that what has been created will have beauty even if I can't see it in full yet. I find this is such a parallel to therapy and to life in general. You don't always get to see the outcome of things while you are in them. Sometimes you are just making the next small step or cut, moving forward bit by bit with faith that it will all add up to something worthwhile at the end. When clients sit with me in difficult moments, we often talk about how progress doesn't often look like progress in the moment. Sometimes it's hidden. Tiny changes in perspective, a small act of courage they can't even fully appreciate yet. Just like these pieces, the meaning often reveals itself only after we've done the work of careful shaping and preparing. So let's look at them one by one. Your brain at this stage is quietly flooding you with dopamine. Not the giant noisy rush that comes from something dramatic, but the smaller, steadier sparks that build with each reveal. Novelty is one of dopamine's favorite playgrounds. The moment you see something unexpected, your brain leans in, curious and awake. And here, that novelty comes in bite-sized, tangible pieces. Each flip, each turn, each moment my hands lift something off the pile is a little hit of delight. It's like your mind saying, "Oh, what's next? Tell me more." It's why this stage feels so satisfying. You are getting a reward not just for finishing, but for exploring. In therapy, I've seen how this works far beyond the craft table. When someone begins to notice tiny moments of novelty in their everyday life, it gives their brain something to savor. We tend to think we need big, life-altering changes to feel joy, but often it's these smaller surprises that keep us moving forward step by step. As I reveal each of these pieces, the larger journaling card, the small text, the ones that feel right in the hand, I'm reminded that I didn't micromanage them into existence. They arrived here because I allowed space for the unexpected to shape them, and that's where the magic lives. Now that the masterboard has been revealed, I'm returning to my initial word, progress, choosing just one little piece to carry forward into a tag. Something about working small feels right now, like I'm creating a keepsake from a bigger story. I start by cutting the two corners at the top to give it that classic tag shape. There is satisfaction in this moment because it's both decisive and creative. My dopamine system likes this. Clear, simple actions that move a project forward. Small steps can be so rewarding when you are present with them. Next, I reach for my crocodile and I punch the hole here in the middle, the other way around, punch the hole, and then set the eyelet in place. I chose a black one because I think it fits nicely to the rest. And then, of course, I press it in, and there's that satisfying click as it locks, a tiny physical signal of progress. Then I cut my word label to size, and I mount progress on black cardstock so it stands out, giving it a little frame. And as I glue it down, I'm reminded that framing an idea in art isn't so different from framing a thought in life. When we name something or frame something, it becomes easier to notice. That's dopamine too. The reward system perks up when it recognizes a goal it already has been primed to look for. And I'm pressing it down to hold. I used my art glitter glue to really hold it. And now I soften the edges of the tag and the back with Distress Oxide ink in Vintage Photo. This is one of my favorite parts. The way a bit of shading transforms the whole mood. It's subtle, but dopamine responds to subtle novelty just as much as big changes. A little variation keeps your brain curious and engaged. I pick up my pen, the one engraved with the name Professor Dr. Sigmund Freud, a gift from a dear friend. This pen always makes me smile. There's history here, a reminder of the conversations and shared moments that make creative practices so much richer. Before I tidy up, I pause to reflect. I think back through the process and the moments that made me smile. For today, I would like to remember that creating this masterboard is such a beautiful way to boost my dopamine. Writing this down is more than just a note to myself. It's a way of telling my dopamine system, this was worth doing. Let's remember it. And the more we practice capturing these small creative joys, the more our brains learn to seek them. Not only here at the craft table, but out in the rest of life too. That's the real gift of moments like this. The art is lovely, but the awareness it leaves you with, that's what stays. So, there it is, the masterboard, and a quiet conversation with our dopamine system along the way. If you crafted alongside me, I'd love to hear what your intention was and which moment lit you up the most. If you found this blend of creativity or neuroscience interesting, you might like to subscribe and enjoy some of my other videos where we explore the therapeutic side of art making. Until next time, take care and keep creating in ways that feel good for your mind as well as your hands.